Hello and welcome back to Unreal Enhanced Edition bonus features. I will be going through my... that's not the right thing. Through the second map that I have been working on. Once again, it's still not complete. I'm focusing on the other mutators right now and things like that, but it will be completed later on. I did do a bit of more work on this than what you saw in the main playthrough, so that's that. So yeah, what was done here? Well, first of all, one thing that I did in this place is I added this cloudcast type of thing. Now, the way this works, like I mentioned, Unreal 2.7 adds the ability to use projectors. So what I did here is create a projector and increase the projection, size to cover basically the whole area where you can step on. Then I created a material by using one of the cloud textures, like you see at the top here, and made it so that it would pan very, very slightly, and then applied to the projector. So that creates this kind of cloudcast effect. But as you can see, it's not very fluid. The reason for that is the fact that that texture, the panning textures can only have up to 256 on 256 resolution. And if you make it pan, say, 1 pixel, because you can specify it in pixels and not in percent, well, it does pan in those pixels, but as you can see, that does not make it very fluid. There is another way to do that, but it makes the game nearly unplayable, so I decided to not do that. Okay, what else? As usual, I converted some of the things into static meshes. For example, this here bed. Oh, by the way, since I'm using the mutator, the bot match menu to open this here map, the footstep mutator is active, so you get a sneak preview of that, I guess, because apparently some of the textures that I added support for are already supported by my mutator. So, for example, here you can hear very faint sounds of me walking on Earth. Yeah. So yes, this was also made into static mesh. The original beacon was not that pretty and not that complex, although even here it's not very complex. I made all of these static meshes in Vortex Strikers, and most of them here I made them here in Unreal Editor, so they're not very complex. On wood, yay. I slightly modified the stools to make them look more rounded, but generally I didn't want to change the tables and other things too much, because this is supposed to be a very primitive Nali hut, and well, they don't have to have anything more. Yeah. Yeah, the grass also has footstep sound. Yay. These rocks, yeah, I made them look a lot more smoother. originally each rock like this had, I believe, about 30 polygons, and with 30 polygons you cannot even make a good enough box these days. Not to mention rocks like that. So at first I wanted to see if I could just convert the brush into a mesh and then add some smoothing, and then maybe it would look good, but no. With that low amount of polygons, all that I got from that was something that had half of it lit and the other half dark. It didn't look good at all. So I had to export this thing to Blender and apply smoothing techniques there. And well, the result is quite good. I also had to remake the UV mapping from scratch. And well, UV mapping around objects like rocks is something that is not very easy to do, because they're very round and the textures are very flat. You cannot wrap them very nicely, so you have to create seams, and you cannot align everything perfectly. However, Blender is quite good with UV mapping, so it's not a very hard thing to do. Okay, in this pond, yeah, there is something that is not what is supposed to be. Basically, this is a fluid surface info. If you look closely, you can see that there are waves. Ow, and fighterfish. So yes, that makes it look quite a bit more lifelike with these small waves and all. I don't know if these things are made to react to weapons fire. There's no real way I can check that, I believe. But yeah, it does give a bit more immersion, I believe. The thing is with these fluid surfaces is that it uses a mesh that after the fact deforms to make these waves, and the problem with many meshes in Unreal is that if you're not looking directly at the center of it, it tends to disappear like that. And there have been many attempts at fixing it, and they weren't very successful. So yeah, no. Hopefully there's something I'm missing and maybe there's a way to fix that, but until then I have no idea. And as you can see, a pool like that cannot use the fluid surface to make things look good. And if I added a fluid surface on something as big as that, it would definitely not look good at all. So yeah, had to not do that. But like I said, hopefully in the future I'll figure something out. The Vortex Strikers still haven't changed it. It's still the stock thing. I found out how to deform it and still keep an entrance like here, so that it wouldn't break the thing. But the thing is, I'm not very good at Blender, and I don't know how to deform it so it would still look good. And I don't have any ideas about how to make it look like a ship. Even right now it just looks like a lump of metal. It's not something that looks nice. Basically, you would need to have a lot of debris around here and have all this hull twisted. Of course, you need to align all these textures because this looks horrible. I know what Juan Pantreckles thought when he made things like that, because it's clearly unaligned. But, well, it's not an easy thing to do. Whoa! Whoops! Well, that happened. Oh well. Let's get back to where we need to go. Okay, what else? Footstep sounds. Also, wood sounds. Hey. For some reason I didn't replace this one, I believe. I'm not sure why. This patch of dirt here, I want to turn it into a static mesh, but once again it keeps disappearing, and I didn't really know why. So I just kept it as a brush for now. I need to replace this one too, I believe. Right, what else? This lamp. This lamp. I completely remade it in Blender by using the original lamp as a base. It now looks a lot more rounded. Originally it was just like rectangle thing, and on top of it another rectangle thing, and that's all. I added a base here, also added a circuitry so that it would look like it's an actual electrical thing. Made the top part look somewhat interesting. Those two coronas, they don't really look that good when you look from this angle. The reason I put them right there, well, they were in the original, but the reason I put them like that is that this mesh has... oh, yeah, you can see it from this side. The glass there is a little bit... well, turned outside. I forget the correct terminology of this. So if you put the corona a little bit in, well, more to the center, it gets embedded inside it, and so does not display at all. And you obviously want to avoid that, so I couldn't do much else. Yes, I could have made it so it's not... so it doesn't curve outside, but it would curve inside. That would make things easier, but oh well. I didn't think about that possibility. Okay, what else? What else? Yeah. I'll deal with that route too. Okay, let's go down there then. Oh, yay. As usual, I changed all of these zones to have proper support for effects, environmental effects. And as usual, you can't hear them a whole lot because of my integrated sound card. I haven't worked on the pathing just yet. Also, the zoning of this place is really, really bad. Like, horribly bad. That's because... well, I don't know why, actually. Just people made it that way. Particularly this cave over there. It uses the same zone as the outside, so that prevents me from creating a good EFX effect inside the cave. I will have to change that a little later on. Yeah, I made the same changes in this Snally house. That's the same bed. Same stools that I placed here. Didn't change the... Oh yeah, there is also sound when you walk on stone. Yeah, I didn't change the table at all, so yeah. Of course, these rocks were changed to have some polygons. Yeah. Did I change anything in the cave? I don't remember. Probably not really. Oh, I didn't have any spare things. No. Yeah, I don't think I changed anything here. Actually, did I change? Yay, metal. Yeah, I think I replaced all of the crates with static meshes. I don't recall if I changed all of them or not all of them. I changed some of them, that's for sure. Well, anyway. This lamp also replaced. It's kind of strangely placed. Yeah, that lamp too. Hey, the automag. Yay. As I mentioned before, I added a fog here. According to I Like the UDK, it looks like Kool-Aid. But I don't know, it kind of looks mysteriously outlandish. And I kind of like things like that. But I don't know. Maybe it should have a little bit less fog. I don't think I changed much else. Oh yeah, the lighting. I added a sunlight. I mentioned that in my playthrough. Added sunlight to both suns of Nepal, and also made so that the lights that were outside still remained there, but I lowered their brightness a lot. So here you can see a very nice reddish tint. It comes from the other sun of Nepal. Ow, spiderfish. So it looks pretty nice, if you know that there is a sun there. Earlier it had some really strange green tints for no real reason, so I don't know what's up with that. And of course that allows me for pretty good shadow casting. Like that place is very shadowy, that's because the sun is blocked by this wall, like you see here. So quite realistic and looks quite nice. Right, I don't think I changed anything else in here, so let's go back. So as you can see, there is still a few things to be done here, namely zoning and pathing. I don't remember if anything else needs to be done. I thought about replacing, for example, lamps like that with static meshes. Oh yeah, I did replace all of these crates with static meshes, because you can see that they don't get flickering lights. It was fixed in the latest 2.7i version, so this bug will be fixed once I upgrade to it. Yeah, one thing that you didn't see in my original playthrough that you will see now. Let me get there. Here. And there. Originally, here there was a wet texture, a procedural texture that added things like water effect, ripples, and just like I mentioned in the Vortex Strikers level, with S3TC textures, procedural textures do not work at all. So what I did here to simulate the same thing is I replaced the wet texture with a normal texture, so you can see the S3TC-ness of it, and also added a projector that casts water droplets, like that, on it. So it still looks like there's something dripping from here, though I will probably need to add a particle effect to show that there is something dripping from there, because otherwise it still looks quite strange, and I don't even know why Juan Pancho Eccles decided to add it to begin with. Well, this rock, it's caused me a bit of problems in that it's the same thing as the other rocks, except that it's a lot lower into the ground, so it looks smaller. That makes the center of this thing a lot lower than it should be, and if the center is embedded in the void, you cannot see anything. Well, it's unlit, rather. So I had to change the center of all these static meshes. But it looks nice now, and it's not unlit, as you can see here. So it's all good. Again, the lamp I changed. I already mentioned this in the playthrough, but this looks really neat. That sun is like setting, and that sun is up, and so you get dual shadows. You can see a reddish tint here, as if the sun is setting, and you get to see a greenish tint here that the sun is up there. So it's an interesting feeling. It's very unrealistic lighting if you look from the Earth perspective, but it makes absolute sense if you look from Nepal's perspective. Okay. So, once again with these lights, I replace those. I've been playing too much Mass Effect 3 lately. I keep pressing the R button. Right, so... oh yeah, this thing. I think I made it into a mesh. I think. I don't recall exactly if I decided to keep it or not, but I know I tried to make it into a mesh. The thing is, I'm not sure if it's worth remaking meshes like that, because their primitiveness is kind of fitting for a setting like this, like a very old mine where everything is rusted out and things like that. Thank you! Some of these were changed. Some of the crates, like this one, again doesn't receive flickering right now, but this was fixed. Some of the crates I did not change because the stacked crates are kind of better than, well, it's better when you use brushes, because if you use just a lot of static meshes, it wouldn't look as well placed as that. Then again, that's something that might be good to have, because right now they look very perfectly placed. That's not very realistic. And the lighting doesn't make it look like these are separate boxes. Looks like it's a whole lot of boxes that don't really do a whole lot and just stick together. Actually, in this place you can hear the EFX a little bit better than another place, but still, it's kind of faint. Yeah. Where am I going? Going here. I didn't change anything over here. Oh yeah, I gave some of the trees shadows of their own, as you can see here. 2 shadows, yay! This is a BSP caused problem, because there's something in here that is not supposed to be. I'm not pressing any buttons, yay! Should be fixed with a rebuild. I still need to optimize things like zones and all of that. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else I want to mention here. That's all the changes that I've made so far. I'm still working on this. Basically, I want to have a few more ideas about what I can change in this place. Few people suggested me to change the whole layout of the terrain here. But, well, I don't know. That would be quite difficult to do, although it would result in massively improved visuals. Thing is, with the terrain, it's huge, and if I make it into a static mesh, it's very possible that you wouldn't even be able to see it from all sides. But if you could, that could improve the overall looks by quite a bit. Also, another problem is subtractive brushes, like this place here is subtracted from the mountain. If you, well, static meshes can only be semi-solid, which means you cannot subtract anything from them, and they're always solid, even if you try to subtract them. So you have to make sure that you create holes where they will be in the game beforehand in Blender. And there are lots of holes in this terrain, like that one, this one, and that's only in this area. And just think about how many others are out there in the main place of terrain there, main area. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about changing the vortex strikers, but I still don't have a whole lot of ideas about what can be changed. Yeah, one problem with changing how, well, the quality of the shadow maps is that if you make the quality too high, you get very precise shadows. That's not something you want to have when you have things like that, because if you have a very sharp shadow, it won't look very realistic, since the distance between the edge of this canyon wall and the ground is quite a large one, and that disperses the light by quite a bit. So you have to have low shadow quality things. However, for example, here it would be nice to have a higher quality shadow. You can change the shadow quality of individual ground polygons. However, some of them connect to both the walls here and the rocks, for example. So if you change this polygon to have high quality shadows, near the wall you will have a short line of very sharp shadow, which would look really strange. And with this thing, this part, you can see a shadow over here. That's another problem. The Unreal Engine tends to create shadows whenever there is a change in elevation. And to solve that problem, originally Pancho Eccles here, he added the flag of bright corners to these polygons. That eliminates the shadows on the corners of these polygons. However, it also makes these parts very bright. And with sunlight, that makes absolutely no sense. Looked extremely bad. Like, well, this is somewhat similar to how it was. But it was even worse than that. So I had to remove that, but in turn that created these things. Shadows here. Basically, if I could convert that into a static mesh, I could make that make this grass texture into a smooth texture, which would solve some of these problems. But once again, like I said, large static meshes is not something that this engine really likes to support. So I don't know. More work will have to be put into this. I also need to add proper shadows to ferns like this, to algae in the ponds, and other things. Oh yeah, and that's the same beacon that I changed. Still thinking about something to do with the Vortex Strikers model and things like that. But yeah. So that's the second map I am working on, and only other map that I have made. And so that will be it for now. I might do some more videos to show what was changed on later releases of Unreal Enhanced Edition, but that will take a while. So that will be it for now, and see you all next time. Later.